college, and I was just like very like academically focused. I was like, I came in as a physics major, and I'm walking around, I'm like signing up for like, astronomy club and stuff like that. And then, I'm basically shot down probably like 4 or 5 fraternities. And then I was, walking out, and this Delta Chi was like walking out with this table. They were packing up to leave. And then he starts talking to me, and he's like, basically I didn't give him like any of my time, but he's like, hey, at least like, I didn't even give him my number. He's like, oh, can I have your number? You're having a good conversation. And I'm like, no, but here's my email. So I gave him my email. And then, 2 weeks go by, and he hits me up. He's like, hey, there's this colloquium about graphics processing units and how they're like, increasing in like speed or like processing performance. And I was like, he's like, do you want to go to that? I was like, okay, like I'll go to that with you. Like that sounds like, something I could do. So that's how he pretty much got me. And, later on, like this guy ended up being my big. And so I went to this colloquium with him, and then after that we got coffee and chatted, and I realized like, okay, like this guy is like, not what I would think like a fraternity guy is. And then he brought me around the chapter, and I was like, oh my God, like all of these guys are like not like just like in the fraternity, they're all like doing other things. Like, one of this other guy, Chris, is like, really involved in like student government and is now involved in like, California government. And yeah, like so I saw like all these people, and I was like, oh, there's a lot more to it than what I thought. So yeah, then I was like, all right, you know what, let's try this Rush thing out, and let's get into it. And yeah, and then that's pretty much how it started. I came in, I kind of saw like this kind of need for like a bit more serious like focus on academics. There was like, a decent amount of people that were like doing pretty good stuff, but then I noticed that there was like some people that were still kind of scraping below the bar and, not meeting a good GPA. And what I guess like what I thought was like a good GPA. I mean, there were some people that were obviously like not very good at all, but some people were I just knew they could do better. And so yeah, I immediately wanted to hop into like the scholarship chairman. So I did that. I kind of like reformed the position a little bit. I like, argued with the exec board to get like a little bit of a budget to incentivize people. Started giving out awards, doing like a dinner for people who were like high achievers for each quarter. We have a quarter system, so it's like fall, winter, spring, summer quarters. So I was able to take like, the top 5 people in that quarter out to like dinner or whatever. Yeah, and then, I was just kind of like staying on top of people. And another big thing I did was like we kind of set the bar to it was like a 2.7, and I was aiming to get us up to a 3.0 cumulative GPA for the whole chapter. And if you didn't like meet like the bare minimum of like, 2.7 or something like that, then like you just couldn't like go to certain things. I mean, it was kind of like hard. I remember at one point, like I had to like, later on in the fraternity, like my little that I had picked up got like a terrible GPA, and I was like I couldn't let him initiate because he got like a 1 point something. I was like, sorry, dude. But yeah, so that was a lot of fun being the scholarship chairman and just kind of like watching the GPA like steadily increase quarter to quarter. And I remember at one point we got up cumulative GPA at around, I think we had like 50-60 members above like a 3.0. It's like a 3.1 or a 3.05 or something like that. I don't remember the exact numbers, but yeah, it was like really cool. Like we came from like around like a, a 2.5, 2.6 up to like above a 3.0. And I mean, when you're recruiting at, a smaller campus, like, and these people are talking about like, oh, is the fraternity going to affect my grades? And you have like a 2.5 cumulative GPA, like, of course, like you can't tell them that you're going to like do great academically. But if you have a little something to show for it, then it's a lot easier to recruit people, especially the smart people. And the smart people are like tend to, work harder and like, take ownership of the fraternity. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. And then right after I got done with that, I moved into being president from my junior to my senior year. And that was crazy. Being president is insanity. Yeah, and like that was fun. I tried to be really transparent with the fraternity, and it was just a lot. Like, at the same time, I was like also doing like, undergraduate research, and I was like a peer mentor, and, still trying to get great grades. And it was just like all my time was being like sucked up, and it was just like a random things at random times of the day. I would need to like go get into a meeting, or I need to like call someone, or like someone like the Brotherhood event like venue got canceled because the Airbnb like booking was late or something like that, and it's just like all this like random stuff. And so like learning how to like delegate and like check up on people properly, and manage this budget and allocate things that would help the chapter. Like the biggest thing I think was just we put a lot more money into our Brotherhood budget, and just tried to like really have a lot more events where it wasn't so much focused around like socializing with other people. It was more just like kind of we were growing a lot at that time, and we needed like more time with us. So that was like one of the bigger things we tried to do. And some of the Brotherhood events I'd been to as a freshman were like pretty like you had like an Airbnb, and you had like some food or semblance of food, but it wasn't like really well put together. So trying to put stuff like that together was good. And yeah, but it was something like, I don't know, like if I would do that again, like that was really, really a lot of work. Yeah, for free. Okay, so I did my undergraduate degree in like just standard physics. I graduated like cum laude, and I did undergraduate research in like 2D semiconductors. So these would be like things that would, potentially be in like your phone or your laptop, or like, futuristic, like flexible electronics or transparent electronics. And then I realized that a lot of that, like the synthesis of those was kind of boring. It wasn't really for me. So then in coming into graduate school in Illinois, I wanted something different. So, I was hopping around like labs trying to like, interview these professors and see what was up. And then I met this professor that I'm with now, and she had this project that was, based around, storing hydrogen gas. And hydrogen gas is like a carbon zero fuel because you can burn it, and it makes just water and oxygen. But the problem with it is like storing it is like a big expensive issue. So making the storage containers cheaper is like basically like a steels metallurgy question. And that's like what attracted me, was like, oh, this is like about sustainability. This has like a long-term impact. And like I could see myself jumping into like this field. Little did I know, jumping into a completely different field from physics and having no prior research experience would be extremely difficult. And being in these classes that are about like straight steels and engineering, having to perform at a graduate level, that was extremely stressful. Don't recommend doing it. Yeah, it was very, very difficult, and it still is to an extent. But yeah, so now I really like it. The research is awesome. The facilities here are amazing, and now what I'm doing, I'm going into beginning of my third year in my PhD out of probably 5, and I'm trying to see like where is the application space. So like what would I be doing as a career? Like what kind of things, like what kind of questions would I be asked as like an employee or as like a manager of a project? And the way I'm going about that is we work with a couple industry partners like Swagelok, ArcelorMittal, and a few national labs like Sandia and the one in Chicago, Argonne National Labs. So I'm trying to like, meet with those contacts and see like, okay, like, in your company or in your lab, like what kind of questions are like, engineers or, your R&D people ask, and like, how do they address them? Like, what is the application of like what I'm doing here at the university? So in terms of like exactly where I want to go after my PhD, it's not quite clear. I definitely want to go into industry and somewhere that's application based, where I can kind of see, for instance, like, okay, here's like the metal we need, here's how we synthesize and characterize it, and here's like the application for this particular, metal or this particular, material. I think that's what's important to me, because I it's hard for me to work on something that I don't see where it's going to be applied in the real world. Like I can, do all this fancy, electron microscopy and all this fancy data analysis and experiments all day at the university, but if I don't see it going anywhere, then it's like, it feels pointless to me. So yeah, so hopefully within the next year, I go work at a national lab. There's a couple internships that are going, and also I'm thinking about applying to some industrial, what are they called, industrial internships. So like with just like bigger companies, like maybe 3M, or I know like golf companies, they use a lot of metal and they need high performance metals, so maybe like that, or Yeah, you know, defense companies as well. So yeah, so that's where I'm at now. Just trying to figure out where I want to go next. Like, often I get asked, like, how did like Delta Chi help you and stuff, and I feel like I think about this almost every day because I deal with like a lot of like, I mean, so UIUC is like I think we're ranked like 4th or 5th in the country for the program that I'm in. So you're with like around like the best of the best people, and not a lot of them have like the best like social skills, I would say. And the way the fraternity helped me was like, I think I have like a vast advantage when it comes to putting together my thoughts and speaking with confidence and presenting with confidence and kind of just managing, you know, if I have to be in charge of something or managing a project or managing other people. I think the fraternity like gave me a very, very good advantage. I mean, coming as this like scholarship chair into being the president, like I've dealt with, you know, testosterone filled 18 to 21 year olds, and dealing with this stuff is like nothing. And going and presenting my presentation, which I know a lot about, in front of like 100 people is fine. You know, what was harder was presenting like some like put together plan for our quarter that happened like at like someone's dinner table over like, you know, over 2 hours the night before. That's a lot harder because all of those guys in the fraternity are expecting, you know, a lot. But yeah, I would say like Delta Chi is definitely giving me like a lasting advantage in terms of just like my ability to confidently communicate in like the research world, in ways that like I don't think many other of my colleagues have gotten that opportunity to learn those things. I was in lab, and I was checking my phone in between talking to someone who was training me to be the safety coordinator in our lab. And I just checked my phone because he went to go do something. I checked my phone and I saw like the email from Donald LaPlante, and he's like, "Congratulations, you have won, you know, the Delta Chi graduate student scholarship in the amount of like $6,000." And I was just like, oh. I was like, what? I was like, because one of my other friends who's in this group chat with me, he got like the Brunelli family scholarship. So I thought they'd already announced everything. So I was like, I didn't get it, you know, whatever. And then I saw that and I was like, oh my God. So I had to like calm down, finish talking with this guy. I get into my car and I'm going to like another appointment. I'm in my car, I'm just like, yeah, like I got it. I was just like so stoked. It was a really great feeling, you know. I would say that it's really, really nice to have something, you know, to look forward to after, you know, graduation. Something where like, even if you're still like in, you know, an educational program, like the fraternity hasn't like forgotten about you. And there's still opportunities to, you know, get help or to stay involved. I mean, in a sense, like, you know, applying for this made me be more involved with the fraternity. It made me, like, writing the personal statement made me reflect on all of my time in undergrad and like what I still do now with, like, you know, all of my really close friends from undergrad. And yeah, I mean, just I would like to say, like, you know, thank you for making it so I can still stay a part of like of Delta Chi, and so I can, you know, look forward to applying to things like this, because it's really exciting to have something to kind of put your thoughts together and work for like an organization that you care about. Yeah.